What's going on, y'all? What it is. So let's go ahead and slide on this topic. So I want to talk about this interesting DM that I got, and basically it's talking about the dynamic and the relationship between Angie Stone and Jill Scott. And from what I'm hearing, it wasn't that good. Now, I'm going to say that all of this is alleged because I can't confirm or deny that any of the things that I'm about to read to you took place. But if this information is true, it's just downright dirty and disrespectful. Now, before I read this message, I do want to say up front, I love Jill Scott. So I'm not trying to put a negative light on Jill Scott at all. I'm just going to read the information as it is. All right. So it says here, hey babe, I wanted to drop just a little nugget off to you about Angie Stone's upcoming services. The invitation still stands if you are able to attend. All expenses are taken care of. Just let me know. So I'm hearing from another R&B artist that is scheduled to perform at Angie's funeral that Jill Scott was asked to perform and she rudely said no. There has been a feud between Angie and Jill for quite some time, and what's crazy is that Angie was the reason that Jill got signed as an artist in the first place. There was also some movie role that they both competed for, and apparently Jill and her team did some underhanded BS to knock Angie out of consideration, but it was to my knowledge that the two were cordial after that. But Angie said on numerous occasions that she's always heard disparaging remarks that came from Jill talking about her looks, disputes about song credits, and just the overall comparison between both of their careers. My number is blank. Now, before I move forward, I do want to say that this lady is married. That's just how she is. She's a sweet Southern lady from South Carolina, and that's how she talks. So there's nothing going down between me and that particular person, right? But anyway, I want to move along and I want to talk about a clip that was sent to me that was talking about the fact that Angie was responsible for certain R&B and soul artists getting signed back in the days. I want you guys to check out this clip and then I'll be back.
There wouldn't be a Mary J. Blige or SWV or Alicia Keys or Jill Scott, any of these people like Clive and the labels would bring Angie into the studio to okay these artists before they signed them.
All right, so you guys just heard all of that. And Angie Stone was a true queen. She was an integral part of a lot of artists being signed. And you just heard that Jill Scott was one of those artists that Angie approved to be signed to a label. So that is just dynamic power within the black community as far as black women are concerned, because nobody was making those moves like that. There were very few that were making moves like that, and Angie Stone happened to be one of the black women that were actually sitting in while these artists were auditioning, and she gave the nod. Now ultimately we know that they didn't pay Angie what she was worth, and that was one of her gripes before she checked out of here, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, you can't take that legacy away from Angie. So now what I want to do is play you guys a clip of Angie actually talking about a role that her and Jill Scott actually went for. Now, Angie was very cool and professional about it. She said she had no gripe with Jill Scott about getting the role over her, but I just want you guys to check out what she said in regards to the role that they were both fighting for.
And they're taking it full on, but I've had to crawl before I could walk. There was a movie that Jill Scott and I was up for at one time, but I had to play a boss woman, and Jill ended up getting a part. And I remember Idris Elba telling me, babe, you got to know who is in your camp. Some of the people that you work for. The producer told Idris, we want Angie Stone, but Jill's people were 80s on a prior movie before that, and they let it be known that, look, you gotta hire this girl. This girl's great. So she had somebody on the inside kind of egging it on, which I'm happy that she got the job, but it made me feel good that Idris was the lead in the male role, and he told me that the producer wanted me.
All right, so you guys just heard all of that, and Angie did go on to say that she wasn't mad at Jill because the position was not taken from her because it wasn't given to her. And so she was happy for Jill and things of that nature. Now, was Angie singing a different tune behind the scenes and things of that nature because she didn't want to get too in depth during this interview about what went on behind the scenes? Maybe, but we don't know. Now, I will say that this isn't the first time that I've heard that Jill Scott could be a bit of a mean girl. Now, I don't know that because I've never had an interaction with Jill Scott, but I've heard from industry individuals that Jill Scott wasn't a nice person. But I'm grown enough to know that you can't believe everything that you hear, and Jill Scott very well may show up and perform, and I would be so happy to see that, because at the end of the day, any differences that they may have had while Angie was alive doesn't matter now. And all that matters in my estimation is that Angie gets sent out the right way. And what better performer to have on the docket than Jill Scott, right? You can't take Jill Scott's talent away from her, but at the end of the day, Angie Stone did have her hands on Jill Scott's career in the early going. But anyway, I'm gonna let this go right here. I want you guys to drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about all of this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and if you're new here, consider subbing to the channel. I'll get with you guys later. Peace.